Join us on the Splash Live, talk about water and utility usage in West Bloomfield. We have the director for the Water and Sewage Utilities of West Bloomfield Township, Justin Taylor. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back on, guys.
Since we are talking about summertime and water usage, let's just start off by saying, or just addressing, how does water usage in the summertime kind of differ from other seasons?
It the like the week we had last week, after a hot week like that, it can be double what we're seeing 6 months prior. So just to put that in a numeric term, in January of 2023, we purchased 139 million gallons of water. In June of that same year, we were up at 262 million. So when we get into the warm months like June, July, August, we're seeing quite a drastic change in the usage of clean drinking water.
Justin, I think you just said something that just drove my curiosity even further. I have to ask you about this. Did you just mention that you had to purchase this water? Can you talk about the process of purchasing water for the township and how the usage of it affects those purchases?
Yeah, so we are a wholesale customer of Great Lakes Water Authority. We buy treated water from them. It comes to us through their large transmission mains and their distribution systems, goes through pumping stations to get to us here in West Bloomfield. And there's a lot of energy to get that up here to us,
Right.
up and over. We're one of the furthest west suburban communities buying water from GLWA, as well as, excuse me, highest elevations. So three big factors that go into what ends up being our retail rates to our customers here. We've got our wholesale rate that we're paying GLWA, and then we turn around. The retail rate is what our customers see. The three biggest factors are the distance from the treatment plants and pumping stations. So we're one of the furthest out. The elevation. So our water comes from the Port Huron, from the Lake Huron watershed.
Mm-hmm.
We are 380 feet higher in sea level elevation than they are in Port Huron.
Wow.
So there's a lot of energy to push that water up that hill and get it to us. And then the last of the big three ticket items is peak hour demand. So when we're calling for the most water, when our customers are using the most water here in our community, in our system, happens to line up with when GLWA is sending the most to all the suburban communities. So we try to get away from that same peak hour demand and help keep our wholesale rates down, which in turn would keep down retail rates.
Mm-hmm. And it's a community effort on that part and educating the community on the water usage, which is part of what we're doing right here on the Splash Live. And joining us right here, Water and Sewage Utilities Director for West Bloomfield Township, Justin Taylor. Now, Justin, just kind of asking you, are there any mistakes that residents are making when it comes to their water usage, and how can they avoid them?
There are a few things, just little tweaks you can make that will help save water, help save save you, the customer, money in the long run. A lot of summer water usage is tied to irrigation for lawn and landscape. Flowers are blooming again, the grass is growing, it's green. If you have an automatic sprinkler system at your home, and let's say you had 4 zones and you run those for 20 to 30 minutes a zone.
Right.
Just by cutting that back even 10 minutes, if you're running it 30 minutes a zone, 4 zones, you're running water nonstop for upwards of 2 hours. If you cut that back 10 minutes a zone, you're going to save a tremendous amount of water, and in turn, that's dollars and cents at the end of the day for our customers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Continue. Yeah.
And another good practice, not necessarily that it's a mistake, but if you water your lawn at night, in the nighttime hours. That gets us away from our peak hour demand. And it also lets the water sit for a period. It's considered ideal because it reduces the tendency for the water to evaporate quickly from the plants and from the ground with the hot day sun out.
Ah. Oh, wow, wow. See, you never think about that type of stuff, but that's important information to know. That way we are not wasting water. That takes a lot to even get to our communities first and foremost, which I don't think a lot of people even know and even are aware of. So thank you again for providing that. Are there any effective ways to maintain pools that use water while minimizing their water use and wastage?
Yes, absolutely. First and foremost, identify and repair any leak you have, especially if your pool is equipped with autofill capabilities. So it senses the water is low, it's going to call for more water. If you've got a leak, that can just be a vicious cycle. You're just constantly putting water into a pool. Another good use or another good item is to use a pool cover. Not only does that reduce evaporation during the hot days, but it can also reduce the amount of chemical that is needed for treatment. Again, saving the customer big dollars at the end of the day. A lot of the pools have a filter system, and those systems do need to be backwashed. Just do that when it's necessary. That process uses extra water, and that can add up quick.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and one last effective way to help maintain your pool in these hot summer months is
Okay.
to add your sanitizers in the evening. The hot day sun will quicken the dissipation of chlorine and those chemicals you're putting in there. So if you do that at night, that helps sanitize it overnight and not as quickly as that dissipated.
Yep. So it really depends on the time of day and your water, the type of pool. It's a lot of different factors that it seems like it goes into it, but nonetheless, you want to pay attention to it. What type of pool you have? It's the autofill, like you mentioned, and the time of day that you sanitize it and things of that nature. I completely understand it. Thank you for providing that perspective when it comes to that. And again, Justin Taylor, thank you again so much for your time and for being here. Any last important pieces of information regarding water and sewage usage for our West Bloomfield residents that you want to get out?
Just for a step moving forward for the future for our children and their children.
Oh yeah.
The township hosts 2 household hazardous waste days here, and where they're collecting all kinds of harmful chemicals, and those are being taken away correctly. Whether that's a landfill or it's got to be treated. Just dumping things like paint, anything like that. We don't want that in the sewers. Our sewer water has all the solids removed. It's then treated, and it ends up right back into the Southeast Michigan and Southern Great Lakes regions watershed. So that, some of these things don't break down very easily. So just, reach out to your communities, and I urge you to use those household hazardous waste days to properly dispose of things like that.
Oh yes, please be mindful of your waste and how it could possibly contaminate or get into our public drinking water and sewages, by the way. Thank you so much for letting the community know about that. Very, very important. From the Water and Sewage Utilities Director, Justin Taylor of West Bloomfield Township, thank you so much for joining us and providing that info.
Thank you for having me.